With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Really excited today. I've got actor, writer Byron Mann with me. So welcome, Byron.
Great to be on the show.
Take two. We tried this a few minutes ago and the internet went down on us. So we're trying again. So before we froze up last time, I was telling you, I've been watching you for about 30 years in different things.
My goodness.
Yeah. Wow. I was looking back like I remember seeing you back in the 90s on Murder, She Wrote. And then,
wow.
And then you were in a show that, I'm a sci-fi type of guy, but you made an appearance on a show called Time Tracks.
Oh my goodness.
So I go back. And then the best one from the 90s was you were on Dark Angel.
Yes. Well, those were like Time Tracks is literally my first show that I've ever done. Like I just got out of the gate. I can't believe you've seen these shows.
Well, I was a sci-fi guy, so I watched all that stuff. And back in the 90s, we didn't have a ton of stuff to watch, as far as in the
that's right.
realm. So anything that came through, and I think Time Tracks was a syndicated show, if I remember right.
Yes, it was. It was. It was shot in Australia, in Brisbane. That was my first, literally, I think that was my first gig ever. And I was flown out to Brisbane and doing the show. I've never seen that. No idea what it was about. I just love the idea of being in Australia shooting that. I can't believe
that's a great trip.
That's just no one's ever come to me ever in my life and said, I loved you. I've seen you in Time Tracks or whatever. Many of the shows, but not Time Tracks. That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
I told you I've been watching for a while. I remember those pretty fondly, and it amazes me that Murder, She Wrote was still on in the mid 90s.
Yes. I mean, has it been on for a while?
It's been on I'd say that was near the end of the run, I would think.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Again, I had no knowledge of, I just arrived. I just came out and I had no knowledge of what that show was about, the history behind that show. I just okay. So,
well, and you were even, and this wasn't, being honest, I didn't really watch this show back then, but you were on the original Walker Texas Ranger, not the new one, but the original one.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is correct, with Chuck Norris, and we filmed it in Dallas. That's right. There was a remake, right? Walker.
Yeah. A couple. It may still be on, but it came out a couple years ago.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Those were all early gigs in my career. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, well, I was pleasantly surprised that you showed up on The Expanse. I was a big fan of the books, and then the TV show I thought did a really good job adapting, but you had a nice little run on that show.
Yes. Again, I had no knowledge of what that show was about. I just, not until I did that show, and then I realized, wow, there's a big following behind The Expanse, the book, the show itself. And it's a really well-made show. Well-made.
Yeah, it was really well done. You got to play like an admiral on there, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. That guy was in the book, as I understand. Yeah,
he was. So. Yeah. He was.
Okay.
So we have to talk about the Modelizer, but before we do, tell me a little bit about what got you into acting. What made you want to become an actor?
I acted in high school for fun, like school plays, just for fun, like a lot of teenagers, and never thought, never gave it another thought. And then I went into college, I went to graduate school, and I was going to pursue law until I started working one summer in a law firm, and I realized, wow, that was really, really boring. that kind of work. So the partner that I worked under actually told me you should do something else at the end of the summer. In a very nice way. He should.
Yeah, but that's not a good sign when you just started and they're like, yeah, you should probably try something else.
Yeah. Well, it's one of these honest talks in my life that I really appreciated because he just told me, you're going to school in Los Angeles. Why don't you just try acting if that's what you enjoyed doing when you were in high school? I said, okay, it's okay. I'll give that a shot. So I tried that in my second and third year in law school. And that was it. I got hooked and I've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
Have you seen that guy since? Have you been able to go? Yeah, you go back and say, hey, thanks. That was the right choice.
Oh, I see him every few years. He's one of the, I consider one of my mentors in my earlier stage of my life. He gave me a really honest, frank talk. When you're young, you don't know anything. When you're in your early 20s or late teens, you don't know how the world works. You don't know what you want to do. So if somebody just kind of give it to you, I appreciate that.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, because a lot of people, they're afraid to say something like that because, you don't want to discourage somebody. But if it's obviously not the right fit, I wish somebody would have done that with me when I was that age.
What comes around goes around. I find myself in his position these days.
Yeah.
A lot of people either come to me, a lot of them come to me about acting, going to be an actor, an actress, or not, or this career, that career, but a lot about acting. And I usually tell them that if you can think of something else to do that would make you equally happy, or if not even happier, you should probably just do that. It's better.
It's a tough field.
It's a tough field.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get your law degree?
I did.
Pretty good. Have you got to play a lawyer on TV or in a movie?
Really interesting. In my entire career, almost 20 some years, never once. And I went to college at UCLA, okay, in Los Angeles. So for 25 years, I never once played a lawyer. And I think I look like a lawyer. I could play a lawyer. I went to law school, but never cast as a lawyer. Then about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I did this show, this Reese Witherspoon.
Little Fires
called,
Everywhere.
Little Fires Everywhere.
Yep.
And in which I played a lawyer, and we filmed. My first day of filming was at UCLA.
Oh, that's pretty great. That's meant to be. That's like full circle.
Full circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just thought that was wow. Couldn't even,
I'd forgotten
amazing.
about that. We love that show. It was one my wife and I watched. Normally anything, that Reese Witherspoon's in, we'll tend to watch because she picks some pretty good projects. And that was a really good show. And you were really good in that. I'd forgotten that you played a lawyer in that one.
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man.
You really are. Like I could go through, you did you had an appearance in Red Corner with Richard Gere.
Yeah.
And Bai Ling, who's been on the podcast before. That was her first role that she talked about. But you've been all over the place, TV and movies. It's been pretty great.
Yeah.
So the Modelizer, tell me about this one because it's a rom-com. So did you write this one and are starring in it? Is that right?
That's correct. I wrote it. I stumbled upon this world. The movie is about. The movie is a rom-com, romantic comedy about international models like Russian models, Polish models, Brazilian models living in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Who would have thunk? And I grew up in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I'm from Hong Kong. I didn't even know that existed. I did not know that world existed until I met some people and I stumbled upon this world and they introduced me to other models. And then they introduced me to some PR, public relations people who deal with model events. And I got to know them and I heard their stories. And it's a whole bubble. It's a whole world unto itself.
Yeah.
Happening on Chinese soil. And I just thought that's if that's not if there's no movie in there, I don't know, what is. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing story. These are amazing, interesting characters, and the stuff that happens in this world is just funny. It's
Well, that's what I
outrageous.
was going to ask. Is it based on some actual people, or did you just kind of take the setting and then made up your story?
Well, let's just say that it's loosely inspired by this whole world. Events, people. It's like a culture. So I've talked to a lot of people, and some of them are friends. So it's an amalgamation of different people, different things, different events. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. So what's the movie about, and what's your role in it?
Well, the movie is okay. So my character, I play Shawn Koo. Shawn is the son of a tycoon family,
Yeah.
and he has a best friend, Bucky, who's played by this K-pop star Nichkhun, and all they do is date models, like the whole week, the whole year. That's all they do. Put on models dinners, take models out to yacht trips.
Yeah.
Now you're listening to this and you're going like, are you serious? Does that happen? And I'm telling you, I know many people who lead their lives like that. That's the only thing they do. That's what they
it doesn't
do.
sound terrible.
At all. At all. So, and models like to hang out with them because they're charming, they're fun. There's free dinner. It's just, it's great. So I play a guy like that, and then one day he meets the match of his life, this newly arrived Brazilian model. Her name is Camila, and she just doesn't want to play by his rules. She's not into money. She's not into money at all. You can't buy her, so to speak.
Right.
So it really kind of, gets him going. So he does what he needs to do to try to win her love. And in the process of this movie, he kind of learns what love really is.
See, I love that because it's taken that rom-com, but it's a little different twist on it.
Not only that, it's a different world. Rom-coms still, look, I was talking to somebody, it's been a while since we've had a good romantic comedy.
Very true. My wife and I talk about that all the time. We're missing those.
I mean, I can bet you probably your favorites are probably my favorites. Yeah. I'll tell you what my favorite rom-coms are. It's When Harry Met Sally.
Yep.
Love Actually.
Of course.
Notting Hill.
Yeah. What about, are you like Sleepless in Seattle, or You've Got Mail?
Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail. Meg Ryan, come on, the queen, right?
That's right. That's
and
right.
Hugh Grant, come on, the king.
Yeah, know? I know. Either one of those in it, chances are the movie's going to be good.
Yeah, it's difficult. You need a good story. Everybody knows the story. I mean, everybody knows the formula, kind of what happens.
Right.
But you need a new world, a new setting, and you need chemistry between the two leads. That's really important. Yeah. And we got lucky. We got really lucky because the actress who plays the Brazilian model, I've never met her. I don't even know her. But we cast her out of Brazil, and we just felt that she was the character. And I don't know if you've seen the movie, but anyone who sees the movie says she's the best thing in the film.
Yeah, well, I've seen the trailer. I think it's being released on the 14th. Does that sound right?
That's correct. July 14th on select theaters across the U.S. and then on demand on iTunes, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, AT&T, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it because we can seat about 20 in our studio, and that's the plan. We're inviting all the couples over, and we're just doing a date night. We're going to have food, watch a rom-com. It's going to be a good night.
guarantee you, your guests will have a good time. Just make sure you have a large screen and really good sound system,
Yeah.
because this film is built for the theaters. Yeah, you
Oh, I
enjoy
love
something.
that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we do. We got a nice setup, projection, TV. You know, I'm not very good with the sound system, but I've got people in the family that are, so I had them hook that up. We got a good setup, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun night. We've been looking for a good rom-com.
Well, let me know. Let Rachel know. Let us know
Yeah, I'll send her over some
how
pictures.
you like it.
Yeah, I'll send her over. I mean, the trailer was really good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if I wasn't researching for our interview and I just saw the trailer, I would want to watch that movie. I'd be like, yes,
Oh,
that's
fantastic.
yeah, that's the type of a movie. What because
Fantastic.
it looks like it's got a lot of potential for some comedy in it.
Yeah, well, I won't say too much, but I want you to just enjoy it. But it's a good movie. It's a fun movie. And it's
Yeah.
romantic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. Is that the first time you had written a script, or have you been doing that for a while?
I've written a few scripts, and I do that out of necessity.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? I've been in situations where I hire writers,
Yeah.
to write scripts, to write stories for me. It's taken a long time, and a lot of times, no fault of their own. What gets turned in is probably about 20% of what I had in my mind.
Sure.
So after a while doing that, I just thought, I'll just do it myself. I can write. I'll just learn
Yeah.
the skill, the screenwriting, and I'll do it. So this is like the third or the fourth script I've written. And again, it's the fastest way to production. It's,
Yeah.
so
Well, if you're writing and you're also going to play a lead, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of hats, but it should make it easier because that's one less major role that you got to cast.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I was wearing a lot on the muscle. I mean, because we were filming in Hong Kong, the director, the cinematographer, the first assistant director, the producers, they all came from the U.S. So all of them were foreigners, except me. I was the local person, so to speak. And so a lot of things came through me, like, for example, just getting locations to shoot, trying to ask my friend who owns this fancy restaurant, hey, can we shoot in your restaurant? As a club owner, can we shoot in your club? Etc. Nobody knows these people except me. So I was wearing those hats. And a lot of times I tell you, to be honest, on this shoot, most of the time I was worried about locations.
Yeah.
Because we were shooting during COVID and we kept losing the locations.
Yeah.
And it's very stressful because it takes a week to prep a location. So I was, the last thing I thought about was acting. That was like the easiest.
that was kind of my thought was, was it difficult putting the work in to the acting side when you wrote it, but you're not directing it? Was that something where you had to kind of allow the director to direct, I guess is what I'm asking.
The director, Keone Waxman, and I have done 5 movies together. We've known each other for more than 10 years. So we have a shorthand. We developed the script together, actually. So he wasn't a stranger I picked out of the yellow pages and said, hey, come on, direct. We know each other very well.
I'm assuming that familiarity would be helpful.
Oh, totally.
When you're filming something like this.
Totally, yeah. So we know exactly what was happening. The most important thing was just making sure we have the location to shoot the scene. That was the most important thing. So everything else was not hard, but just kind of making sure the train was running on this production at the height of COVID in Hong Kong. That was where it sapped most of my energy.
Yeah, that's when I've talked to people that are making a film or a TV show, that's what's kind of the foremost thing on their minds is where to shoot it and just finding the right location. It's kind of an underappreciated obstacle that everybody has to face when they're making something.
Well, after this film, this film was a watershed moment for me because in my whole career, I've been a work for hire, right?
Yeah.
They give me a script, I give me an offer, and I show up and I shoot the thing and I leave. This time, soup to nuts, I was involved from the ground up and basically telling a story that I love and it represents a lot of my sensibilities. And I come to appreciate all the different departments. Like everyone has to be involved, like production design, costume, music,
Right.
camera department. Everybody has to be involved because it's a very collaborative medium. If you have one guy who's just not performing or who's underperforming, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's 100% true. How long of a shoot was it?
About 2 months, 2 months shoot.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and again, I say that again. We shot at the height of COVID, which was the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. I mean, when COVID was raging around the world, we were shooting in Hong Kong. Hong Kong was actually really safe at that time. So we had all these foreign actors fly in and all these foreign models in Hong Kong who had nothing to do but be in our movie. So it was kind of a fun time. Yeah.
Did you have to take any precautions on set, or were they were they safe enough at that time you didn't have to do all that?
We look, at that time Hong Kong was pretty safe because you couldn't come into Hong Kong unless you had a work visa and you had to be tested at the airport. And yet everyone had to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So it was pretty safe.
Yeah.
And so I think we did regular testing, and there were, off screen, et cetera. So, yeah.
It's definitely provided another layer that we never had to deal with before. The last few years we've had to deal with that kind of COVID situation, and it's made things just that much more difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, in a way, it kind of helped us because the whole city was kind of empty. The hotels were empty. The restaurants were kind of empty. So we were able to shoot in really fancy hotel penthouse suites and fancy restaurants, which was really appropriate for this world, right, of models and modelizers.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to have that for that world.
Totally. I mean, if we shot in normal times, these places would not be available, and we probably couldn't afford them.
Yeah. That's another great reason, or a great thing that this is coming out so soon, is we've got this writer's strike going on, and we're kind of starving for new content.
Yes, that's yes. I hope things resolve. But yeah, we're in strange times. COVID, writer's strike. We just never know, right? So. Yeah,
it's kind of you don't have the normal progression year to year for like pilot season and announcing or planning the new movies coming out for the year. Everything's kind of on hold waiting for this to resolve. So hopefully they get it done fairly quickly.
Absolutely.
And they take care of the writers because we need them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to take care of me because I'm the writer.
That's right. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Have you ever stepped behind the camera? Have you ever done any directing?
No, I haven't. It's in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's in the back of my mind, but I've been working with enough directors to know how stressful that is and how all enveloping that is. I mean, you're really, it's 3 years of your life and gone, basically. You're, pre-production, production, post-production. It's very, very, very. So I'll probably come across a movie or script that I feel very passionate about, and then I'll attempt to do that. So
would Byron the director be hard on Byron the actor?
Absolutely not. He would just go, Byron, just have fun. Say whatever you want. Ad lib on this tape.
Yeah, you'd have some freedom at that point.
Yeah.
Did I read that you were kind of a big deal tennis player at one time?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 16, I was competing in Hong Kong, and I think my highest level was, I think I was number 2 in Hong Kong when I was 16 years old.
That's pretty good. Do you still play?
I still play. In fact, I was shooting a movie in Korea for the last 3 months. I just got back to LA and I brought my tennis rackets with me. and I was playing in Korea. How about that?
That's pretty
Tennis.
nice.
Yeah.
Have you tried pickleball?
Interesting question. My brother, elder brother, is trying to goad me onto playing pickleball, and I'm not there yet. I'm a purist. I you
I
know,
know. I can't
I
quite
still like.
figure it out. It looks easier in some ways than tennis.
Yeah, I tried it once or twice. I don't love it. I mean, if you can play tennis, why would you play pickleball? But
Yeah.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to offend anybody.
It's kind of
Tennis is still my game.
sweeping the country right now. It's popping up everywhere.
I know.
I think we just keep trying to find activities that you don't have to be a professional level athlete to play. And I think pickleball kind of fits that. If you're athletic but not necessarily a superstar, then maybe that's something you could play and be competitive at.
Yeah, and also if you have the reason why he was trying to goad me into playing is because he had some knee problems, right?
Yeah.
So it's less strenuous on your knees playing tennis, by playing.
That's
pickleball.
probably why it's pretty popular with the elderly, and that's probably why
that's
it's a little easier.
That's exactly why.
Yeah,
that's exactly why. Yeah, so
yeah, that's interesting. You appeared on Wu Assassins.
Yeah.
With that, are you trained at all in martial arts?
I would say I've been trained a lot on different types of martial arts because I've done a lot of action films. I'll tell you something funny because Keone Waxman, the director of The Modelizer, and I have done like 4 or 5 movies together.
Yeah.
And 4 of those movies are action movies. And his cinematographer, his producers, and his first assistant director, we've all worked together. We've all done a lot of movies together. So when we were filming The Modelizer, the community around the world, our peers thought we were making an action film. And we gave it at that time when we were filming in Hong Kong, we were just using a code word, Hong Kong Love Story, as a temporary title for the film. So people thought that Hong Kong Love Story was a code word for an action film that we were doing. We kept telling them, I said, no, guys, we're not shooting action. We're actually shooting a romantic comedy. No one would believe us. Until July 14th, when the movie comes out, then they'll know.
Now, it'd be kind of funny if the movie comes out and it actually was an action movie. That would be kind of hilarious.
But to answer your question, I've done a lot of action. Every time I do an action film, I get trained, and so I've worked with the best action directors in the world. I've worked with martial artists like Iko Uwais, from The Raid, from Mark Dacascos. I mean, I've worked with all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you would pick up just from that. You'd pick up some pretty good martial arts training.
Yeah, definitely. So it's fun because my career I've done a lot of action, but the first movie I've officially produced is a romantic comedy. How about that?
I think that's great. I love that because we're used to seeing you in a lot of action stuff or science fiction stuff. I think it's going to be fun seeing you in a romantic comedy.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty great. I told my son that does this podcast with me. He does the hard stuff, the editing and the marketing, that type of stuff. I always ask, what have you seen this person on? Because that's who's coming on the show. So what he recognized you from was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh my goodness! Oh, man.
I mean, you can tell we're a little bit nerdy, so that made sense.
Yeah, you're quoting things that normal people wouldn't quote.
Oh, and Arrow.
That's amazing.
You're on Arrow. You've done DC and Marvel.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Well, I always said I've got all this useless knowledge banging around in my head. Never knew what to do with it. And then podcasting came along. I was like, finally, I can put it to use.
You interview like all types of people, like all across all genres, all types of actors.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the majority is acting, but we've got musicians, we'll talk with authors. We branch out a little bit, but the majority is with acting.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, if you're
We call
sci-fi,
it more
yeah.
pop culture.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. All right, very cool. Awesome.
So what's coming up next after you get the movie out, kind of get that behind you? What do you have coming up?
I have another action movie coming out, of course.
Of course.
It's a good one actually. It's called Dark Acid. It's coming out I think around September, October, and I believe it's going to come out on Paramount Plus.
Oh, very nice. What's it about?
Oh man, it's with me and Robert Patrick.
Oh,
and from Terminator.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, big fan of his.
I can't even describe the log line, but it's very good. It's kind of sci-fi action kind of a film, and it's not what you think. It's kind of not what you think. What you think is happening is not what you think is really happening. It's a really cool. I can't even describe to you.
That sounds
premise.
like
It's
one
hard.
that you have to pay attention when you're watching.
Correct. Yeah, you have to pay attention. And the director, writer is Michael Winnick, and he did this film called Guns, Girls, and Gambling with Gary Oldman about Elvis. You might have seen it. Guns, Girls, and Gambling with Christian Slater, Gary Oldman.
I have seen
Elvis.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a really good cast in that movie.
Correct. Yeah, it's the same director and writer. And
okay.
And so I'm also very excited about that. But currently, the Modelizer, very happy, very excited.
Yeah, and you should be. It looks really good. We're really excited about it, and it's always fun to do a date night. Like movies are just more fun with a group.
Oh, this is definitely because we've had test screenings of this film, and this movie works a lot better if you have a group of people watching it. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Did you get to do the whole red carpet type of experience with it?
It's happening next Monday in LA. We have a premiere.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting. You're not doing one in Hong Kong?
Well, we'd like to. We're talking to trying to nail down a distributor in Hong Kong, and once that happens, we'll probably do one in Hong Kong.
Is there, at this point, is there a genre left that you would like to try that you haven't done?
Oh man, I haven't done horror. I don't think.
Really? I was gonna say Western, but then I was like, well, he's on Hell on Wheels, so that kind of counts.
That's right. Western. No, I think I did a horror thing. I think I did. I even forget the name, but I think I did it. I don't know. Maybe I've done it all. I don't know, but I'm very happy with romantic comedy. It's a very fun genre to be.
Well, that was one that I didn't remember seeing you necessarily in a comedic role, so I thought that was pretty great that you were, that you're one of your early writing opportunities is with a comedy. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too, actually.
Well, Byron, this has been terrific. I can't wait to see the movie. Love watching your career because you're one of those actors that always seems to show up in good shows and good movies. I was trying to think. I don't think there's one I've watched that I was like, oh, that was terrible. Everything you're in is pretty good.
The terrible ones I burned them all away. You don't see them. Yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Couple little things before we wrap up. So you've got the movie coming, the movie coming out this fall on Paramount. Anything else you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, I'll tell you, I just came back from Korea, and I did this Korean film.
Okay.
And I think it's a fairly big Korean film. I speak English in the film. And it's coming out next year. Currently, tentatively, the title is called Moral Hazard. And you will definitely hear about it next year when it comes out.
I saw that was like in pre-production or some
Yeah,
stage
that's right.
of production.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you about that. The nice thing now is with all the streamers, we're getting a lot more foreign content here,
Yep.
and it's good content. I mean, if sometimes you have to put the subtitles on or whatever, but it's good content. But in the past, we've never had that exposure.
I can't tell you how many people I've come across recently, just regular Americans who they're telling me that all they watch is Korean content, Korean TV series,
it's good
Korean
stuff.
streaming, like Squid Game, Parasite, all these like.
Yeah.
So I was actually there in the thick of it, filming with a Korean crew, filming with a Korean director, filming with Korean stars. It was just an incredible experience.
Yeah, that's
fortunately,
awesome.
Fortunately, I didn't have to speak Korean because I'm not Korean. I don't speak Korean. Fortunately, I just stuck with English, But
if you have to learn a new language, that's not terrible. If you're getting
terrible.
paid to learn a new language, I'd be like, okay, I guess I could learn it.
It would just take a little time. That's all.
It would take some time. But now I think that's one thing that is changing for the better is that we are getting exposed to a lot of content that we just never had before. And I think that part's pretty great.
I agree with you because it broadened one's horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Well, so Byron, last thing before we go is where can we find you on social media?
Well, I'm on IG. I'm on Instagram.
Yep.
Byron Mann 1, BYRONMANN 1. Byron Mann 1. That's usually my go-to for social media.
Does that mean you were the first Byron Mann or the second?
Oh man, I think somebody took Byron Mann and never did anything with it.
Doesn't that drive you nuts?
Yeah, it's okay. It's you go, there's other things you can be worried about, but so yeah, it's Byron Mann 1, and I'm okay with that.
Well, if you go on IMDb, you're the first one that pops up.
Oh, you mean of the Byron Manns, right?
Yeah. You're the first one, which I'm saying that because, as a Michael Wall, if you look me up, I'm like number 8. There was like 7 ahead of me.
Hey, it's not too late to change the name,
I may have to, or stick the middle initial. I see a lot of people put the middle initial in there. And that's
yeah.
Well, Byron, thank you so much. I hope you'll come back at some point. Maybe come back and tell us about one of these other projects when they come out.
Absolutely. And please let me know what you think about the Modelizer after you've seen it.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you over some pictures.
Well, send it to me. Yeah, send it to me directly on Instagram.
I will.
Love to see it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, Brian, hold on 1 second. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm such a fan of Byron's. Byron Mann. The movie is The Modelizer. It'll be out on July the 14th. So definitely check that out and support him. He's the writer and the star, and it sounds terrific. Sounds funny. Sounds like a good date movie. So definitely check that out. I didn't want to just pepper him with all the things that I've seen him in, but he's done so much. So let me run through some of those that we didn't get to talk about. So he was Inspector Wu on Skyscraper. Obviously, he did The Big Short. I'm sure you guys have seen that one. It had Christian Bale and Steve Carell, Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling. It was loaded. He was in that. He played Wesley on Catwoman with Halle Berry. He was on the Recruit for several episodes. He did, we've had several of the actors from Blood and Treasure on the program. He did a run on that. I mentioned Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Arrow. He did Altered Carbon. I thought he was terrific on that. Going back further, he made an appearance on Smallville for at least a couple of episodes, maybe 3. So enjoyed him there. He did, we mentioned Hell on Wheels, but he's been on Burn Notice, NCIS Los Angeles, Rush Hour, CSI Cyber, Hawaii Five-0, Nikita. He's just done a ton of stuff, and a lot of it's nerdy content. So that's my wheelhouse. So I've watched him on just a lot of things. Always enjoy his acting. I think he's so talented. If you're finding us for the first time and you enjoyed it, you'd like to support us, we'd really appreciate that. It's easy. It's free. All we ask is that you subscribe. If you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please just subscribe there. Just hit that button. Really appreciate that. If you're listening or prefer to listen, just wherever you listen to your podcasts at or from, just subscribe there. That'll help us so much. Really appreciate that. Today we put out episode 613. We normally put 4 or 5 episodes a week, so we're pretty high volume. You can find all of those, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. If we're doing anything in studio, like watching the Modelizer, if we're going to a convention and covering, if we're going on location, anything we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.